We're on the phone today with wrestling legend Barry Darsow. You might remember him as Smash from the WWF tag team Demolition. He was also the Repo Man, and he's going to be coming to Midwest All-Star Wrestling's Women of Nations Grand Slam 4. That's coming up November 5th at Tartan Senior High School in Oakdale. Hey, Barry, how you doing today?
Dustin, I am doing mighty fine. Can't complain. So you're down in Mankato?
Yep, we're from Mankato. Have you been around here lately? Or
not lately, I haven't, but a lot of times I've been there.
Well, first of all, you're going to be part of Midwest All-Star Wrestling's Women of Nations Grand Slam 4. That's coming up November 5th at Tartan Senior High School in Oakdale. They've got a lot of wrestling legends coming for the event, and I know that you'll be there with your old tag team partner, Bill Eadie. That's got to be awesome to still be together after all these years.
Oh, and it's for an incredible cause, too. And I get out 2 or 3 weekends a month to different places, and when you're doing this to raise money for, the women like this, it's huge. So, Axe, my partner, he's flying in on Saturday morning, and we're really looking forward to this. So I hope there's going to be a huge crowd.
Yeah, definitely. Midwest All-Star Wrestling, very popular, and as you mentioned, a great cause. I know 100% of the proceeds are going to benefit the Women of Nations, the Eagles Nest Shelter, so definitely a great cause for a lot of people who would probably be coming out to see the show anyway, so definitely great all around. Yeah,
I believe Tito Santana's coming in, Diamond Dallas Page, I think Kennedy's coming in, so it's quite a group of people.
And Barry, as a guy who grew up around here, that's got to be cool for you to see companies like MAW, and a lot of other ones as well, still thriving here in Minnesota.
Oh, it's fantastic, and what's funny is, all the groups from around the whole country, they're getting big crowds, besides the WWE and AEW. So it's really good to see the wrestling's really thriving here.
And you mentioned your old partner Axe is coming in. I know you're going to be there taking photos and signing autographs. Do you think is Demolition going to be getting into the ring at all?
We really can't do that anymore. My body's beat up pretty good, and so is Axe's. So we're just going to say hi to everybody and, like you say, take pictures with them. And a lot easier on our bodies doing that than getting in the ring. We can't keep up with these guys anymore.
Yeah, the business definitely has changed, and you guys had such a huge impact on the business, at a time when, every kid I knew was into wrestling. That's got to be awesome for you to, hear some of the stories from some of those kids who, now they're grown up and they've got their own kids coming to events like this.
Oh, yeah. It's, I tell my son all the time that I've had the greatest life of all time. I've been all over the world. I've been able to be on the road. You go in the locker room and you travel with the guys for years, so they become your best friends. And you go to work, and your opponents are sometimes your best friends. So it's great to go to work and work with your friends. It's pretty easy gig, but hard on your body.
Definitely. And again, that's coming up this Saturday, the Midwest All-Star Wrestling's Women of Nations Grand Slam 4 event. And can you talk a bit about, that time as Demolition? I mean, you had been wrestling for quite a while before that in a lot of different territories, but I mean, you really jumped into an exciting time in the WWF with all the huge WrestleManias and the action figures and the wrestling albums. I mean, you guys were really at the forefront of all that.
Well, yeah, I right before I went in there, I was partners with Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when I left there and got the call to go to the WWE, Bill Eadie, I didn't know right off the bat that he was going to be my partner. So when Vince called me up there, he told me about the Demolition gimmick and everything, and asked me if I wanted to do it. I said, well, most definitely. And, I was probably the youngest guy in the WWE at the time. I was, 24 years old. So when I walked in the locker room with Bill Eadie, my partner, and the first guys you see is Andre the Giant and Paul Orndorff and, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, you see all these guys, and it's like, holy cow, thank God I had Bill as my partner, because he already knew all these guys.
Sure.
So it didn't take long to where I became friends with them, and then I was just right with them. So it was really exciting times for me when I first went up there, and I loved it.
Well, and you definitely made the most of it. I know you guys came in and were scaring the kids at first, and then became big fan favorites. You guys had the coolest music. I mean, you definitely made an impact around that time for sure.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed though when they brought the Road Warriors in. I got in the business with Joe and Mike, the Road Warriors, and Rick Rude, and I was hoping when they came up there that it was going to be a bigger matches. They put us together right away instead of waiting for it to build up for a year or two. And which, if they would have did that, then I think it would have been huge. But they kind of just threw it together, and we had the matches and they were good, and that was it. But it wasn't nothing special, so I was a little disappointed in that. And then that was about the end of our run after the Road Warriors were up there.
I wanted to ask you about that and your memories of working as the Repo Man, which was a character I loved when I was younger. I mean, that was definitely a complete 180 coming off the Demolition run.
Oh, I had a good time with that. And when Vince and I agreed on having that gimmick, it was going to end up being where I was going to be a baby face for a couple of years, and then I was going to get out and just do Make-A-Wish stuff. But it ended up being where he never ended up turning me babyface. So I was a heel the whole time, and then I ended up not being happy, and then I left after that. And I wish he would have turned me babyface, because then that would have changed things for me. But that's the way the wrestling is.
Sure. Well, that would have been interesting. Do you have any idea, how you might have pulled that off? Because that doesn't seem like a good guy character, but I'm sure you could have made it work.
Well, Robin Hood was a good guy, right? So he robbed from the bad guys and gave to the good. So that's how the Repo Man could have did it. He could have did that same thing. There's always an angle. So that was, I had a lot of things, that I could have did and we didn't do. But that's up to the office. They're the ones that do all the angles and make everything happy, and the wrestlers or make everything happen. The wrestlers are just the ones that have to make it happen. So,
as far as making it happen, I mean, you've portrayed a lot of different characters over your career, a lot of very different ones, and you really had a knack for getting characters over and, putting your all into some gimmicks that maybe some other wrestlers might not have been able to pull off. I think that says something about just your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite gimmick was Smash, the Demolition. But after that was when I was the Blacktop Bully down in WCW. I absolutely loved that gimmick, and then they ended up killing that off early too. So, you never know what the office is going to do to you. There's people that end up getting in the office and they might not like you, or maybe they like somebody better than you or whatever, and then pretty soon you're out of a job and you don't know why. And it's unfortunate, but that's the business.
Sure. Well, again, you're still out there doing it, and you're going to be part of Midwest All-Star Wrestling's Women of Nations Grand Slam 4 event coming up Saturday at Tarleton Senior High in Oakdale. You and Axe, as far as Demolition goes. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned kind of the office side of things, and I know you've had your ups and downs with WWE over the last decade or so, but things obviously very different there now with Vince McMahon out of the picture. Would you accept maybe a nod for the Hall of Fame if that comes up, or do you think you'll be back on good terms with those guys?
Well, I never knew I was on bad terms. I don't know, why we've never been asked to go up there, but that's their prerogative. But yeah, I would love to get the nod and get up there. And I knew Triple H from way back in the day, and was always friends with him, and I've been friends with everybody in this business. So it might happen one day, but they might just think that there's other tag teams that are better than us too. Who knows what they think.
Well, hopefully for the fans' sake, that happens sooner than later. Barry, what are you up to nowadays? I know you've got added value printing and a lot of things outside of wrestling going on. How did that all come about?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been I don't really sit still ever. I started the company now it's been 16 years ago with one of my old buddies that I went to school with way back. And we ended up selling it to my niece and nephew. So I retired 2 years ago, and now I'm just going out doing personal appearances 2 or 3 times a month with Axe. And my wife and I are traveling. My son lives in Michigan. He married a Michigan girl, and I have 3 grandkids. And we spent 3 months out there this summer. I got a little cabin in the woods out there. So we're kind of in the process of moving out to Michigan, but we still want to keep our place here in Minnesota. So that's kind of what I'm doing, just traveling and having a good time and still working a little bit, but not too much.
That's awesome. And I know your son got into the wrestling business as well. That's got to be pretty cool as a father to see him have the success that he has had.
Yeah, but I've always told him, don't ever get in this business because it's so hard. You don't know if you're gonna get the spot to make the money, and you could be the best wrestler in the world and not make it, and you could be the worst wrestler in the world and become a millionaire. So it's just kind of whatever the office likes. And he became a deputy for the sheriff's department out in Roscommon, Michigan. So he's been 8 years out there now, and he's a canine officer, and he's just really, really a good kid. And, I'm glad he's not in the business.
Yeah, you do hear that a lot from the guys that were in the business. They kind of try to discourage their families. Definitely, as you mentioned, it's tough, not just physically, but mentally over the years as well.
Yeah, and my son went to Mankato State.
Oh, okay.
And when he was breaking in the business, he called me up. He says, "Dad, I want to get into wrestling." I said, "Dakota, please don't do that." He goes, "No, I'm going to get in." So he used to make the trip from Mankato here to Minneapolis, and Lenny Lane had a wrestling camp here. So Lenny Lane trained him in, and I helped train him in too. But he worked hard at it, for a year. Every weekend he drove home, went to the camp, and then one day during the week to the camp. And, when he quit, it was right when he was really getting it, and he was just, I think, a little too young when he got into wrestling. But he did a great job, and I ended up being partners with him a couple of times on some shows around, the country, and I had a great time with him.
Awesome. Well, yeah, definitely. It's cool that things have been working out so well for you. And again, you'll be coming to Oakdale here for MAW on Saturday. Is there anything else maybe coming up for you, or something else the fans might be looking out for?
Well, I'm in so many different places. I'm in Boston coming up. I'm in Pittsburgh, Ohio, all over the place. And I'm looking forward to seeing the fans. It's so nice when you do these things. Like when we're in this show this weekend, we actually can sit and talk to everybody. And, most of the fans know your whole life story. And it's fun to hear some of the stories that you can't remember that they know. And I'm just hoping everybody comes up and says hi to us, and we'd love to shake hands with you and just have a good time. And it's just for a great cause. So I hope to see everybody there.
Excellent. Again, Barry, it's been an honor speaking with you. I've been such a huge fan of yours for a long time, and it's been great speaking with you today. Thank you so much.
Hey, you take care, and I appreciate you doing this for the show and everything, too. That's huge.
Yeah, definitely great. Hopefully I can run into you, and if you're ever around this area again, I'd love to speak with you.
Perfect. You take care, and thanks.
And again, that was the one and only Barry Darsow, Smash from Demolition, also the Repo Man from the WWF back in the day. And again, he'll be at Midwest All-Star Wrestling's Women of Nations Grand Slam 4 event coming up on November 5th. That's at Tartan Senior High School in Oakdale. And all the proceeds will benefit the Women of Nations Eagles Nest Shelter.